All right, everybody, welcome. Thanks so much for coming to this workshop today. It's my pleasure to introduce Lauren Morris. She is the Assistant Director with Students Transition and Success right here at Binghamton University. That is an office that really helps students transition into college life and provides a lot of academic coaching. So we're very lucky to have her with us today. She is dedicated to helping students enhance their academic success. So I really look forward to this presentation. If anybody has any questions, definitely just throw them in the chat, or I'm sure Lauren will tell you her preference as she gets started here, but thanks for coming.
Yes, welcome everyone. Like Sophia said, my name is Lauren, and I am the Assistant Director for Student Success Coaching here at Binghamton University. And essentially my little canned opening always is when you get here at the university, we want you to be feeling that excitement and positivity all throughout your experience, throughout all of your semesters. So if you want to keep up that feeling, a really great resource is to attend Success Coaching to make sure you are planning ahead, getting all of this stuff in order, so that you can be the most successful that you would like to be, since everybody's definitions of success are different. But without further ado, I'm going to try to share some of my slides. Do you all see that? Hopefully. Awesome. Cool. So again, if you have questions, hopefully, Ellen, can you see the chat? I don't know if I will be able to.
Yeah, I'll keep my eye on it.
Awesome. So this conversation that we're going to be having is around 5 tips for more successful studying and test taking. So again, this could be really utilized in your daily life now, but hopefully this will also set you up for success when you get to Binghamton University. So our first thing we're going to do is if you could share your preferred name and your favorite ice cream flavor in the chat. Let's see if I can see it. Ooh, mint chocolate chip. Awesome. All great flavors. Is anybody a big Ben and Jerry's fan? I'm a big Ben and Jerry's fan. I like fish food. It has like chocolate and caramel and marshmallow. It's just all of the flavors all combined together, but all very, very delicious, but all really great choices. So a little bit about what we're talking about today. These are sort of the 5 tips that we're going to be going over. The first is study environment. The next is study strategies and note taking, test stress, test taking strategies, and asking for help. Like with any success coaching topic, the goal is to share new perspectives, tips, and hopefully get you thinking about some of these topics. So the first that we're going to talk about is study environment. I know this may sound a little silly, but really trying to dig deep and thinking about how you are going to study, where you are going to study, who with, who not with, is all very important questions that you should probably ask yourself before really starting the semester or at the early stages of the semester. So if you want to take a moment and maybe think and share, you can either unmute or you can share in the chat. But think about your ideal study environment. Identify your most common distractions. Identify a workstation. So do you need your laptop? Do you need your charger, notebooks, pens, textbooks? Are you going to need water, snacks, stuff like that? What changes can you make with your current study environment to optimize the time that you may have? Does anyone have any tips or suggestions on study environment?
The first one that comes to mind is just like keeping obvious distractions away. Like in my room, I have my PlayStation right next to me at my desk. I don't turn that on if I'm like trying to take studying seriously, obviously, or like I leave both my TVs off.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Music is also super helpful for people. Thank you, Molly. Um, Next, we're going to be talking about some study strategies. So, has anyone heard of massed practice versus spaced practice? So, massed practice refers to conditions in which individuals practice a task continuously without rest. So, again, that could be like you're studying for a huge, long, extended period of time. So you decide, oh, well, I want to study for 4 hours all at once. Space practice refers to conditions in which individuals are given rest intervals within practice sessions. So this could be also the Pomodoro theory. I'm pretty sure we talk about this a little bit further into the presentation, or Pomodoro Method. But essentially, you put in little breaks in between your studying. So again, you can say, hey, I'm going to study for 2 to 3 hours, but after every 25, 30-minute interval, I'm going to take a 15-minute break to either check my phone, look at my email, hop on to Instagram, see if I missed anything. So definitely when you build in those little breaks for yourself, one, you can stay a bit more concentrated while you're actually studying because you know that time is coming. And then also, we definitely talk to students around the Pomodoro method. And sometimes they say like, hey, sometimes I hit 20 minutes and my alarm goes off, but I'm in the middle of something and I want to keep going. That's totally fine. And what you can do is when you start realizing you getting distracted again, then taking that 10 to 15-minute break to text your friends or again, check social media. But we always want to make sure we're setting alarms so that we can get back into the studying mode. So we did talk about the Pomodoro method, and then making connections to your own life and summarizing in your own words. That is super important. I just talked to a student yesterday. She was like, is it normal for me to like read a chapter and then put like a couple notes in my own words? Absolutely. If that is something that resonates with you more, you are way more likely to recall that information if you are putting it into your own words. Same with sitting in lecture. If a professor is saying all of these huge words that you're probably not going to remember when it comes to the test, making sure to writing it down in your own words is going to be very beneficial. Then self-quizzing. So any type of practice problems or flashcards, a lot of people use like those online self-quizzes too. That can be really helpful. So any type of self-quizzing, again, really helps with memorization of content. All of these strategies, depending on what major you are, some work way better than the others. So you'll also have to try to figure out what techniques sort of work better for memorization, what techniques work better for reading, all of that. Any questions so far about study strategies? Cool. So again, making a study plan. This was a attachment that was sent out, but I find it really important, again, for me to sort of figure out where to begin. So when making a study plan, when do you plan to begin studying? So let's just say you are looking at your schedule for the week on a Sunday night and you say, okay, on Tuesday from 2 to 4, that's my study time. Something that could be really beneficial is also filling out what studying means for you during that time. Is it more reading? Is it reading a specific topic? Is it focusing on a specific chapter? Just so you have a plan. What type of tasks, again, will you be intending to accomplish during that study session? In what environment will you study, which we talked about a little bit before. Who else needs to be involved, and how will you be taking breaks? Again, this is a worksheet that we usually go over with students. So this is also some continued questions that you can ask yourself, like when I feel distracted, I am going to blank. I do my best work when blank. When I'm not sure who to ask, I will blank. And when I feel confused or frustrated, I will blank. So does anyone want to share any of their tips of when they do their best work? What does that look like for them? Working or studying with others, that's really good. Definitely. And again, study plans can be very individualized. So sometimes, again, group work works really well. Other times it's more individual. So that's really great, Molly, that you like studying with others and you realize that. The next thing we're going to do is our time mapping activity. Did everyone get the worksheet, the time mapping worksheet? It sort of looks like a weekly schedule.
Should have been sent to our emails.
What was that?
I'm not sure if we have it, Lori.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
No worries.
I'm not sure if I have it anywhere.
No worries. We'll just talk about it then. So what the time mapping activity is, it sort of looks like this. And it's really, really helpful to try to figure out time and task management and productivity levels. So what you would do is on like the left-hand column, you would write the time that you wake up and then the time that you go to sleep and all of the 30-minute intervals in between. Then you go column by column throughout the week and you put a box around your most productive times, and then you try to change the color of the boxes for your least productive times. Again, this gives you a really good map of trying to figure out what to do during what time of the day when it comes to time and task management. So if we were doing this exercise, could people share what tasks they would want to be doing during their most productive times? Studying for big tests, yes. Any other tasks? bigger homework assignments, reading essays? Absolutely. So more productive times we want to be using our brain, right? We're more alert, we're more intuitive, so we want to be using our brain. For our least productive times, are there tasks that we would want to assign to those spaces? And what would those be? Yeah, definitely. Easier tasks, which could include quick homework assignments, small writing assignments, also like laundry, things that you might need to use your brain for, like eating food or hanging out with friends, calling your family, stuff like that. Because we're people too, right? We need to fit those things in as well. And also when you do this exercise, you'll see that there is quite a bit of white space as well that doesn't have a productive or least productive box around it. And those are also times that can ebb and flow, right? There are some days you might be more productive in those times than others. But those are also some areas where you can be scheduling in some study time. So that's sort of the time mapping activity. If you do have a chance to do that, it is really, really beneficial and probably pretty eye-opening when you think about it, of when things are more productive. I know for me, Fridays, I am not productive at all. Like I don't want to do anything. So I really try to schedule out my weeks to make sure that Fridays are a bit lighter so that I can really get some stuff done previously in the week. I hope that all makes sense. So on to note taking. I know this slide looks a little hectic, but I wanted to try to fit in a bunch of different examples for note taking. So how many people have heard of one of these methods? It's Cornell Method, mind mapping, flow notes, or outlining. One, maybe a couple. Yes. How has anybody heard of all four? No. So Cornell Method, I don't know, can you see my cursor at all, Ellen? I'm not sure. So Cornell is like this type of method. So essentially Cornell notes, they're pretty specific, which is great. But they're going to be doing a lot of keywords with little short descriptions of those keywords. Then in the columns, there's going to be some questions that may arise while you're going over that information, whether it be reading on your own or again in lecture. And then you're going to summarize in your own words at the bottom. So you're essentially taking information, taking tidbits of information, summarizing it a little bit, asking questions or maybe some like really fun things to note on the side, and then summarizing it on the bottom in your own words. Mind mapping is down here. So I was an art major in college. I'm a super creative person. I do doodles all over my notes all the time in college. So mind mapping was my thing. You start with one idea and you sort of spread out and essentially make a picture of what the lecturer is saying or what you are reading again. So again, that's like a different way to sort of organize notes in your brain. Flow-based notes training, which I believe is this one right here. So flow-based notes, it's very simplified. So you write the information in your own words and you use the Feynman technique to do that, which is shown right here. Again, there's going to be some visualization. So there's going to be diagrams, images that represent some new ideas. And then there's going to be connections made. So as you can see, there's a lot of arrows of like, this connects to this, and then that will connect to this. So it's sort of then linking all of these ideas together, and they can connect the ideas backwards, between topics, externally, it goes all over the place, but it will make sense to the person that is organizing these notes. And again, I feel like one of the most popular is outlining. So starting with a big topic and then sort of doing Roman numerals and bullet points of the smaller, more detailed topics. Again, all of these are are great ways to take notes, and there are certain people that love their ways of taking notes, but it doesn't fit with everyone. So if you're like, hey, mind mapping would never work for me, absolutely fine. You will absolutely find ways to take notes that make sense to you at the end of the day. So test stress. I'm sure there is a lot of test stress in high school. There is going to be test stress in college. What are some common reasons for or forms of test stress?
A form might be pulling an all-nighter.
Yeah. Definitely. Pulling an all-nighter is a definite thing that students do. Absolutely, worrying about your grades for sure. So some stressors are stress that you're not prepared, that you don't know the content, you don't know the topic area, stress about knowing what's going on the test or what will be on the test or what was going on in this last class. I have no idea. Pressure from yourself, from your teachers, from your coaches, classmates, family members. Those all can be very stressful, right? And then again, forms, not sleeping well, like pulling an all-nighter. Procrastination, not being able to focus. I think Molly added midterms or big tests. Definitely. They for sure can change your grade a lot. Big stressor, right? So to try to mitigate some of those stressors, again, we've been talking about this quite a bit, but making a study plan. Time and task management will give you time to ask for help and understanding. So I know this tends to sound silly, but time and task management, preparation, planning, it is going to really make you able to go with the flow a little bit more. So if you are planning in advance study time and having a study plan, if something were to come up like a pop quiz, or if something were to come up in life, like you had to miss a class because something extenuating was happening, right? If you are prepared and have a plan, you are way more likely to go with the flow of what is to come versus if something happens and you are disorganized and panicked. Again, that adds even more stress to your plate. So trying to have a plan is really important. Remind yourself of past success. I think is really great to reflect. I think that is something that success coaching really focuses on, is reflection, and being able to go and remember some past successes. Like if you're really stressed about a test that is coming up, but you did really well in the last one, trying to remember that is going to help you. Complete practice tests. That again is going to be helping you. Try to look for things and offerings on campus when you get here. There's the tutoring center at Binghamton University. We also have supplemental instruction, which are two really great resources that students can utilize for test prep. And then rest your mind before a test. We definitely talk a lot about future self in success coaching. And like we talk about what is the type, how do you want to feel the night before you take the big test? And typically, right, you want to feel prepared, confident, not stressed. You want to be able to sleep well. So trying to remember that. And then 2 weeks ahead, when you are thinking of your future self, trying to plan out how that future self is going to feel. So you're going to want to study. You're going to want to fit in time to study. You're going to want to figure out what is going to be on the test. So you might want to talk to your professors or your teaching assistants if you have teaching assistants in your class. And again, during your test, you want to arrive early if possible to set up your workstation. Again, if you have a pen or need a pen, making sure you're bringing all of the things with you. Take deep breaths, and if you can have water, take a sip of water. Self-care for sure. And expect the unexpected. You will not know every answer. I think sometimes when students go in thinking that they're going to know every answer, that's probably the wrong mindset to have. But make sure that you don't let it lessen your confidence, right? You want to be confident taking this test. And it is okay if you don't know every single answer, but hopefully you'll be able to figure it out the best way possible. So some test taking strategies. So actively read the directions and try to read the entire question first. If it's multiple choice, read all potential answers before choosing one. I think what's funny is I feel like a lot of students skim. So they skim really quickly and they might miss a part of the question. And I know sometimes there's time associated with the questions and stuff like that. But if you try to read every question as carefully as you can first, the likelihood of you getting that question more correct is pretty high. Use context clues from questions. So again, if you're getting stuck on a question, trying to use context clues from other questions to help you, or if you can figure out parts of the question, you can at least get partial credit. So trying to, again, use those context clues to figure out possibly what the answers are going to be is helpful. Be mindful of your time. Yes, a lot of these things are timed, but you will know that going in. You'll know how much time you're going to be allotted. So when you're practicing for your tests, it might be helpful and beneficial to also time yourself, right? And then eliminate wrong answers to decrease the amount of options you have to choose from. So this goes back to multiple choice. If you know for certain that one or two of those answers are completely wrong, just cross them out. So then you don't have to worry about it. I think another technique that students tend to use is if you can eliminate 2 of those answers, but are still stuck, maybe go on to the next couple questions and then go back to see if anything has jogged your memory a bit. But those are some test taking strategies. So I feel like number 5 is the most important. And I think it sounds the silliest, but asking for help is so important in college. I just had a student yesterday say that she just had no idea about the support on campus, and she's a sophomore now, and she's just starting to realize like how many people are on campus that are here to help her. So a super important part is identifying your support network. Upward Bound is an amazing team to utilize when you get here. The UB tutors, teachers, coaches, family, friends. The success coaching program is also a great opportunity to just help talk through things and figure out, again, what works best for you in your learning styles. But asking for help and identifying your support network is so important when you get to college. Then how to ask for help is always very interesting, right? There are so many students that are intimidated to email their professor to say, hey, I didn't understand the content, or go to their office hours. But that's what they're there for, right? So trying your best to understand that this invitation is more of a collaboration than it is just you asking for help. You're trying to essentially collaborate with the professor and try to figure out what the content is that you're missing. So some tips are to clearly identify what it is that you are asking or trying to find out. Then communicating the effort that you have already put into finding solutions. So you're not necessarily saying, I need help, you need to help me. You're saying, hey, I need help. Here are all the things that I've been doing. What have I been missing here? So you're really taking the ownership of what's going on. And again, that comes across much better than you just saying, you need to help me because I don't understand. And then just, again, sort of talking through what strategies you've been using. And hopefully during their office hours, or even TAs can help, the tutoring center can help. There are a bunch of people on this campus here to support you and are excited to meet you. So definitely don't be afraid to ask for help, for sure. Very, very important. So we are at the recap. First, are there any questions of what we went over? Does anyone want to try to remember what topics were in which bubbles before we go? Yes, the first one was study environment. Yes, yes, yes. Any other guesses?
I'll be honest, besides the first one, I don't remember which is which.
You're totally fine. So first one, study environment. The second one is study strategies and note taking. The third is test stress. Fourth is test taking strategies. And the fifth is asking for help. So can everyone, oh, third is note taking. Yes, Haley. So can anyone share with the group what their takeaway was from today? What did they learn? Yes, you can take notes a lot of different ways. Thank you, Molly. How to manage keeping up, yes. Do not be intimidated by your work. Yep, for sure. Many strategies and people available. For sure. That's a great takeaway. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for your time. If there are any questions, I'll definitely linger a bit. But again, I'm Lauren. I work in student success coaching here on campus. And again, a really big takeaway is that we are absolutely here to help. So once you get to campus, we are for sure here to help you and here to connect you with the resources and all of the guidance that you may need to be successful here on campus. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Lauren. That was a great presentation, and I hope everybody took away some tips and tricks. And yeah, I hope everyone has a great rest of your week. We'll see you next time.